Hello, Merry Christmas, and welcome to this very special edition of NBC4 Stories. On this Christmas Eve, for the next hour, every story we feature will be about the holidays. We are coming to you from the Ohio Village at the Ohio Historical Museum, where we are transported back to Victorian America. You will see how Christmas was celebrated then, and also how it's being celebrated now. For the next hour, enjoy our Christmas gift to you. They call it a Dickens of a dinner here at the American House Hotel. Tonight, they are serving a wine-encrusted chicken, and of course, there will be carols performed by the Ohio Village Singers. A traditional Victorian dinner would likely have included a roasted goose being served and plum pudding that would be boiled in beef broth for 8 hours. After the meal, the 80 or so people inside tonight will get to roam the grounds to see how Christmas was celebrated in the 1800s. Did you know that until the 19th century, America basically didn't celebrate Christmas? The Puritans believed it was a pagan holiday, and in many American cities during colonial times, it was illegal to sing a Christmas song, exchange a gift, or even mention the name St. Nicholas. That all changed in the mid-1800s, and this is a representation of how it all started. Christmas Eve can be a time of miracles. One family believes they received one on the afternoon of a Christmas Eve when they received Frank's gift. This is a story of what a family believes is a Christmas Eve miracle, an Italian restaurant, and a very big hunk of meat. Frank Catalfino was a barber in 1974 when he decided to open a pizza parlor on the East Side. It has changed and grown into an institution, Catalfino's Italian.
I don't know if he actually looked at it as he wanted to run his own business. He just wanted to do better than what he was doing, which is, I mean, really, that's why all the immigrants came here. They heard they could eat meat 3 nights a week.
It was that meat that helped make the Catalfino Christmas. Every year, Frank made his traditional prime rib.
One of his favorite recipes was this big prime rib, basically, slow-cooked prime rib. And, you know,
15 to 20 pounds.
It's a lot of meat.
Only he knew the recipe. Only he knew how to do it.
It's the best day of the year. And leading up to it was a little chaotic, and, you know, again, he always wanted to make everybody happy.
All of Frank's kids and grandkids knew that Christmas at his house meant the best meal of the year.
Even as they got older and went off on their own, he wanted them there for Christmas Day. And he always fixed a big meal.
And then, last year, a little more than a month before Christmas,
He had surgery to remove the tumor. He went through chemo and radiation, and we thought, we got our miracle. He's going to get better. But then he, you know, found out that it had spread to other parts of his body, and from there, you know, still continued to fight up until the day he died.
Losing somebody is tough regardless, but when you, I mean, right before the holidays, it seems a little tougher, I don't know.
Trying to keep the family tradition as normal as possible, the family gathered last Christmas Eve to make his traditional meal, but only Frank knew the recipe.
Over the past several years, he had perfected this recipe where he would slow cook it, and we had no idea what he did, but we loved it.
Then the mail came in the afternoon. Included in the mail was the Pickerington magazine.
In October, before he passed, a gentleman from the local magazine, Pickerington Magazine, called to see if he could do an interview with us. And I said, sure.
As they were discussing how Frank may have made his traditional dish.
So we get the mail, and I open it up, and it was a great article about my dad and my brother, and there's a great picture of the two of them. But on the next page, it says, Frank shares one of his favorite holiday recipes with us.
His secret recipe arrived just when they needed it.
And it was of his prime rib that he made every Christmas Day. So it was his last bit to help me out.
There's a lot of things that have happened that I think is, he's got his hand in it somehow. Him making sure that recipe came along is...
Oh my gosh, should we just...
We all look at it, it was one last gift from him to us, so that we can continue the tradition of having a nice Christmas meal and have the meal that he would have made for us.
to see that, you know, and a picture of him just smiling and then the recipe's right there.
Look for the signs. He's still with you. And that was our first sign. It was as close to him as we could have had that day. It really was.
When we return, what are some of the area's top engineers working on this season? Their day job is at Battelle. This is their night job. For 28 years, NBC4 has been associated with Firefighters for Kids. Where do those toys go that you donated this year? And then later, the Central Ohio version of the Polar Express.
From our family to your family, we wish you the happiest of holidays and a blessed new year. Merry Christmas.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry Christmas from the Ray family, and here's hoping that in the year 2011 you will reach out like the people here at Better Way and make a difference. Happy holidays! Happy holidays!
Back at the Ohio Village, we're actually inside the toy shop right now. These are all toys from the Victorian era, much different than what kids are playing with today. For nearly 3 decades, NBC4 has been associated with Firefighters for Kids. You ever wonder all those toys that you give us, where do they go? Here's NBC4's Marshall McPeak.
Christmas has been kind of struggled, but we made it through.
Shanna Harvey has 3 kids, Latoria, Jemai, and Precious. They know their mom's doing the best she can. She's almost ready to take the test to get her GED, and she's getting her life together. But while things are still tight, Firefighters for Kids will put presents under the tree.
It's going to make that Christmas wonderful.
I think firefighters, if it wasn't around, it would be a lot of empty trees or empty houses.
Jokeela Walker counsels dozens of families at the Southside Settlement House and knows how difficult the holidays can be. She says the need is up again this year because the economy's been so difficult.
Even those that work every day, a lot of us are just living paycheck to paycheck. Any of us could be on the other side of the door.
So we get very little money, which takes nothing but to pay the bills, and you have hardly nothing left.
Sue Craig says she was reluctant to ask for help, but knew she couldn't buy gifts on her own, and she didn't want her grandkids to go without. Firefighters for Kids may save their Christmas.
It'll make them happy. They'll have something, make me happy just for them to have something to open.
Your donation can make it a happier holiday for lots of families, just like Sue's and Shanna's.
Back in Victorian days, toys were usually made at home. The elite could have them shipped in from toy makers in New York. But here in Columbus, there are toy makers that are building toys that look like they could have fit under any Victorian Christmas tree. Here's John Edwards.
It's no surprise that this group of Battelle engineers, technicians, and project managers would pay attention to detail.
We have people that cut wood, we have people that sand, people that assemble.
But it's what they're making that may surprise you.
If you center them on the width of this piece, then the handle's too far over here and it's not in the center of gravity.
These folks aren't designing or building high-tech gadgets.
I'm a stickler for perfection. So I've been working here too long, so.
And he's not kidding. You see, Don Reuter and Harold Hess have been building classic wooden toys for needy children for the past 25 years.
This is one of my favorite little toys. We call it our boom box, but it's a tone drum.
You don't have to worry about batteries or adapters. All you need is an imagination. Together, this group volunteers their time and ingenuity to bring joy to those less fortunate. Harold Hess has been retired for a few years, but he comes back to this workshop every year.
And we feel like elves, I think, being able to bring something to the children at this time, that probably things that they've never seen, made out of wood, old-fashioned toys.
And by Christmas, this group of elves hopes to have more than 700 toys built for Santa to deliver.
Coming up, Columbus's next top model, at least for one day. Helping those who need it most during this Christmas season. And you have seen it downtown every Christmas, the history of the state auto nativity scene.
Hi everybody, and Merry Christmas. I'm Ellie Merritt. I'm at home with my husband Matt and our oldest daughter Caroline. She is 3 years old. And are you looking forward to Santa coming? Yeah. You been a good girl? Yeah. Really good? Yeah. And this is our other daughter Claire Rose. She was born in April, and this will be her first Christmas, so it'll be a special one for us. We call her Claire Bear, that's her nickname. And Caroline has a song she'd like to sing. You ready?
I'm a little snowman, short and fast. Here are my buttons, here is my ass. When the sun comes out, I run away before we fully melt away.
Oh, good work, buddy, good work. Well, from our family to yours, Merry Christmas.
We're coming to you from the Ohio Village, where they're having a Dickens Christmas celebration. If you missed it, they'll have it again next year. It's tradition. Now, what's your Christmas wish? For one Central Ohio woman, it was to be a model, and for one day, she got her wish.
Do this. There you go, look at me there. You look down at the ground. Look at me now. Well, you got it. Chin up a little bit.
Ebony Caldwell. I'm 18 years old, and I go to Mount Carmel College of Nursing, and I have sickle cell anemia.
Stephanie Stein. I'm with Wilhelmina S2.
Throw your head back. Did laugh.
We train models and actors and get them prepared for the industry.
I like that.
Being here means to me that I get experience in the modeling field, and I get to just be a model for weekends.
And we had 2 young ladies from a kid again. Girls that would not otherwise have an opportunity to do something like this. Ebony and her mom said yesterday that they realized how much really goes into something like this and how much work it really is, and so they've both had really great experiences.
To me, it's kind of getting her out of her shell because she's very shy, very quiet, and maybe to kind of get her to open up some.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
I'm always proud of her, you know, to get this goal that she wants.
The one thing that I think this gives to everybody, even the kids that participate in it, is a great deal of confidence, and just help impact them through the ordeals that they're going to have to, the challenges that they face.
I wasn't expecting it at all because I love every moment of it. I love the modeling, the acting class, because I go to what I can.
These kids have a great time. They learn a lot. I had a couple of them tell me that they wish it didn't end. I mean, I hear that all the time. So, I mean, this is a good experience for anyone that wants to do it.
I really appreciate the experience because it's something that she would not be able to do normally. She's always going to be that little girl in my eyes, but she could be worse, but she's always going to be my little girl.
Just thank you. I really appreciate it. I really do.
I like that.
Most of the lights here at the Ohio Village are gas-powered, much different than our electric-powered lights today. But Marshall McPeak has found one man in Central Ohio who has found a new way to make his Christmas light shine.
Clint Freisinger's driveway is just too long. 500 feet is much farther than he wanted to run an extension cord. But then how do you power the Christmas lights on the fence and the trees out by the road?
There's nothing wrong with the extension cord. It's actually the cheaper way to do it, but I don't get to learn anything by just plugging it into the wall. So.
And Clint's learning project was to build his own environmentally friendly solution, a windmill. It's made with some factory-second parts, an alternator with a coil he wound himself, and hand-carved wooden blades.
They're not very good, but they're good enough to get it to spin, so that's really all I care about. So.
When the blades turn, they create electricity that gets pumped into a set of golf cart batteries. They, in turn, pump the juice out to the LED lights, and voila!
There's enough battery power that it'll run for 3 or 4 days with no wind.
A chip tracks whether the batteries are under or overcharged. When there's too much power, it flips on a pair of headlights to drain off the excess.
So at nighttime, I can look out, and if the headlights turn on, I know, hey, the batteries are full. So.
Clint says it's not really a money-saving project. The lights only need about 24 watts anyway. But for a mechanical engineer, it's a great learning hobby. And it's pretty for the folks passing by.
And you have seen it downtown every Christmas. The history of the state auto nativity scene.
Choirs still sing, carols still heard, an amazing story still told.
And also Pickerington Christmas lights.
Hi, I'm Marshall McPeak, and this is my partner Daniel, and this is our family. You know, the holidays are always a special time, and it's a good time to remember that we're all one big family. Everybody deserves love and respect, so be kind to one another. Have a very Merry Christmas, and from our family to yours, have a Happy New Year.
Yes, he's mine. Oh, Jesus.
The 2010 NIA Performing Arts Theater Company's production of Black Nativity. It was presented this season at the King Arts Complex. Black Nativity is a gospel musical about the birth of Jesus, only the setting is an African village and also a present-day church. It was written by the novelist and playwright Langston Hughes and first performed on Broadway in 1961. The cast in the musical has ranged from just a few months to nearly 90 years old. That has become a Columbus Christmas tradition, and so has this. The State Auto Nativity scene on East Broad Street. Here's Cabot Ray.
I've been coming here, well, I'm 62, since I was like 5 years old.
It's a generational tradition. Carol brings her grandchildren to see the display as her 85-year-old mother watches from the car. The State Auto Nativity display began as a Christmas card to Columbus from founder Robert Pine during the dark days of the Depression. It went dark during World War II, only to return as an ever-expanding nativity scene in the years since. For decades, a new life-size figure would be added each year, now more than 70. From Mary and Joseph to shepherds and wise men, animals, angels, even this Roman soldier, the oldest of the wire and plaster figures, still standing proudly at his post on this frigid night. Young Caitlin is impressed.
What would be your advice for that guard up there?
Get some clothes on.
All joking aside, there's something truly inspiring as you walk through the grounds. The display moved here just a couple of years ago after decades in tight confines in front of the building.
Do you like it better over here?
I do.
Why?
A lot more space. I also I come here because it tells the whole story.
The display remains on State Auto property. Richard Schultz came to work here 40 years ago and remembers when nativity scenes were challenged and often removed from public land.
Not so much the case with this.
No, absolutely not. Well, I mean, you can look around and see the people are here and they enjoy it so much, so that is not an issue, I don't think.
Choirs still sing, carols still heard, an amazing story still told. A Christmas tradition continues, even thrives, again bringing a message of hope to a world in need.
And this shows us the real meaning of Christmas to me.
And Cabot also spent time with a local couple who for 24 years, they've had their own ministry. And it is at this time of year that their ministry is needed most.
Cabot, I read a series in the Old Citizen Journal about a prostitute down here who had AIDS. And I just began to pray about that, and the next thing I know, we're down here.
Here is the Better Way Ministries, founded by Stephen Wanda Campbell in 1986 at the Garden Church, located at 5th and I, where tonight's show includes headliners, the Christian Assembly Big Band. And with an enthusiastic group of volunteers getting last-minute instructions from Wanda.
Please love on the people, okay?
The evening's honored guests, 250 homeless or working poor, ready to forget their troubles and do what the rest of the world does.
Time for God's children to party down, man. Okay? The King is born and we're going to party, dude. Oh, yeah.
Ham and potatoes and pie aplenty. They eat all they want and even join me for a few hearty choruses.
La 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 la.
There in the midst of the celebration, you'll find the Campbells ready to laugh and ready to pray.
Get him off the land too, Lord. Provide everything he needs, Lord, and watch over him. I ask you to set angels round about him.
4 nights a week, the Campbells are here, leading a brief Bible study followed by a hot meal. 40,000 meals this year. Same story for Sunday service. The Better Way serves breakfast also during the week, offering food pantry services, free computer training classes, and most of all, hope.
There's friendships here. I about lost hope in my fellow human beings.
Susie and Larry were living in their car in the dead of winter when they first met the Campbells. Now they have a roof over their head.
You guys have been a lifesaver. I found out, to me though, even more so than the tangible things you give intangible things. You give love and you give hope, and you give happiness.
Ron was directed here 2 years ago after being released from prison, hoping for a new start.
Kept me focused and kept my life is just it's never been better than what it is now.
Wow.
And I really owe it all to the Better Way and the Garden Church.
Thank you, Ron. Man, I appreciate that very much.
I do.
The sincerity of heart is returned from the Campbells, who don't view these people as just a ministry and say there's nowhere else in the world they'd rather be.
I don't think I could be anyplace else. This is my family. These are my friends. And the most difficult thing that I have in my life is to open the door at night and send some of them off out into the snow and to the cold.
After dinner in the sanctuary, large garbage bags stuffed with sleeping bags, blankets, gloves, socks, candles, flashlights await dozens of those who will have, as one man told me, only the sky as a roof tonight.
These people will be outside tonight. Not maybe. These people will be outside, sleeping in the snow tonight.
Painful reality that has brought heartache to Steve and the Better Way workers more than once.
Last week, one of our good friends died on a park bench in Westerville.
For those working poor with shelter, it's bags and packages of toiletries, sweatshirts, gloves, donated by area churches and through private donation. Each person given gifts, both material and emotional, walking a gauntlet of love as they head out to a cold world, warmed just a little by the touch of caring and committed people and shepherded by the Campbells.
I honestly believe you saved my life.
I want some.
What do you want for Christmas?
Merry Christmas, pass it on.
Merry Christmas, pass it on from our family to yours. Happy New Year, everyone, and go Bucks.
Go Hawks too.
Go Hartley Hawks too.
Besides Christmas, December is also the month of Hanukkah. Ben Gelber shows us how the internet is affecting the 8-day Festival of Lights.
The familiar dreidel song echoes around the world on the 8 nights of Hanukkah, a symbol of joy and celebration marking the 8-day Festival of Lights, which commemorates a miracle of a tiny drop of oil, keeping the flames of a rededicated house of worship lit for 8 nights instead of 1, a universal symbol of religious freedom. This was the message shared by Columbus Jewish Day School students with their counterparts in Israel on the first night of Hanukkah through the modern lens of computer technology, a video conference call to celebrate another holiday season. Hanukkah is about giving, gifts for family and those less fortunate, and giving your time.
Why do we celebrate Hanukkah for 8 days? The oil lasted for 8 days. How many days was the oil supposed to last for?
Volunteers fanned out all across the Columbus area to bring Hanukkah to Jewish residents at 9 extended care facilities. Rabbi Sharon Mars, Director of Spiritual Life at Wexner Heritage Village in Columbus, started an outreach program called Nadav, which means generous.
This is our opportunity to bring the community to them. So many Jewish seniors are isolated, they're disconnected, they are scattered throughout the Columbus area, and in many instances they don't have any spiritual companionship. Sometimes they have families, sometimes they don't. So we become, in a sense, their family.
Ohio State professor Kenny Steinman is one of the volunteers.
During the new moon, we still have the courage to light a candle.
The Jewish volunteers that we have found are these really extraordinary individuals who really want to give of their time and their energy and their souls.
We can light a candle to remind us of our ability in America to celebrate our relationship with each other, with our neighbors.
I am, I guess, what you call a survivor of the Holocaust. I spent some time in the concentration camp. My crime was being a Jewish. The fact that I'm alive and here and be able to tell my story is a miracle in itself.
We're on a computer all the time, and we're on Twitter and Facebook, and these personal things seem to go away, and this gives me a chance to reconnect with another person. And Frida's 99 has a huge story to tell.
Everybody, a happy Hanukkah!
When we return, the softer side of Santa.
And the drums and the guitars.
And then Santa on the rails. This guy gets around.
Hi
everybody, it's Michaela and Marcus and Logan, and of course it's been a big year of change for us, maybe for you too.
We're so happy to welcome Logan to our family in May of this year. Our first Christmas with him is certainly going to be very special. We hope each and every one of you have a very Merry Christmas too.
Merry Christmas and many blessings.
We have come inside to the church here at the Ohio Village to watch a performance of St. Nicholas. He looks pretty good for being born in the 3rd century. Bishop Nicholas of Izmir, what is now Turkey, was known to show compassion for children by giving them gifts. By the 1700s, St. Nicholas started being called Santa Claus. Santa can adapt to many children and their needs. Here's Jared Smalley.
Hello, Tyler. How are you?
It's a moment of Christmas magic when a child comes face to face with him.
Tickle, tickle. Tickle, 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 tickle. Normally, I'm very loud and boisterous. If you're in this mall and you hear me come in through the doors, you know that I'm here.
But this day at Polaris Fashion Place, the holiday spirit still shines.
Hi. Yes.
Just at a lower volume.
I try to be soft with all children, regardless, because just regular children are sensitive to a degree too.
Children with autism and other special needs spend this morning
Can I hug you? Okay.
meeting sensitive Santa. For Ethan Zimmerman, comfort takes time.
If he's never seen you before, he will either hide behind me or just hug on me and not want to talk to anybody. Because we tried before just walking him near Santa, and that line was so long, he started, stressing out, freaking out, laying on the floor.
It just takes him a little longer to get comfortable.
Here, children do not wait in long lines, and they get as much time as they need to make sure Santa hears all their wishes.
The pickles and the drums and the guitars and the piano.
Okay. Anything else?
And the photo with St. Nick ends with a smile.
The more I can get on my lap, the more photos we get, and parents are happy with those Christmas photos.
He did really good. Yeah. He didn't sit on Santa's lap. He sat on the reindeer horse, but he did good, and he smiled in the picture. And this will be his first, and so we're so excited.
Hi, girls. How are you? Can you come sit on my lap?
Yeah.
To Santa, all children are special, but for the little ones who need some special attention, Santa shines with the Christmas spirit.
I love these children. These are the angels of God. And I'm maybe that's sentimental, but that's true. I find these children, they're angels in human form. Can you be a good boy?
Yeah,
Okay.
Do you remember the excitement and also the nervousness of sitting on Santa's lap? Does he really know if you've been naughty or nice?
Well, hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Oh, boy.
You tell Santa what you want for Christmas?
What do you want for Christmas?
Look at Santa.
Hey, buddy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Give Santa a big hug for me?
Oh, boy. Hey, oh. Am I boring you, miss? Am I boring you?
I want a pillow pet.
Hello, pet. Which animal do you like?
A unicorn.
The unicorn. That's the pink and purple one, right? Yeah.
Can you give Santa a hug? No? All right, how about one more big smile? Cheese.
Good boy. Thank you. Thank you for coming to see me.
Baby, look up here.
I want some pet shops.
Littlest Pet Shop? Well, that would be wonderful. Oh, that's okay. What, up there on the roof thing? What's up there? Oh, the reindeer. No. The reindeer are at the North Pole.
I want a scooter.
A scooter? What do you want for Christmas?
Rock hard abs.
Rock hard abs? Some things you got to do for yourself. Legos for PlayStation. Which Lego game do you want? Harry Potter. Oh, sweetheart. What do you want for Christmas?
Well, sorry for him pulling your... My family to have a good time.
Oh, that sounds good.
There are so many things to do here at Ohio Village just before Christmas. They have Victorian traditions such as Mummers Plays, which is where we get such characters as Father Christmas and Barleycorn. There are Victorian ghost stories, and you're likely to see the ghost of Jacob Marley. And speaking of A Christmas Carol, can you help Mrs. Cratchit fix a holiday meal? Our Monica Day was in the kitchen this holiday season, making a favorite, fudge.
Fudge, a chocolate lover's delight. And Schmidt's Fudge House, they know how to do it right. So what better place for me to try my hand at a little holiday rocky road, starting with melted Belgian chocolate.
And now we're going to pour it out onto the marble table.
It smells so good. You have to be strong to do this. I mean, it truly smells delicious. And it's just cocoa, butter.
Cocoa, butter, creams, and sugar.
Oh, yeah. All the good stuff. Now, we've got this poured out on a marble table. Is there a reason that you use a marble table?
I'm thinking. Yes. It come to me now. Yes, we use the marble table because it's so thick and it's naturally cooled with the marble.
As it cools, we add pecans, walnuts, and a special ingredient.
And you just sprinkle it all over top.
All over it?
Yes, it's called fairy dust.
Oh, the fairy dust is what makes it.
Pull away the support bars and the real work begins.
We're going to go down through like this and flip the fudge. Now all we're going to do is just take a few minutes, and all we're going to do is just whip it in there. All we're doing now is actually just adding air to it and beating it, and this is what's going to make it turn out to be nice and creamy. We can go ahead and add the marshmallows. Snowman poop. Just let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
You then form the fudge into a loaf. Just cut and enjoy.
We have 2 more Christmas Eve features for you on this very special edition of NBC4 Stories. When we return, catch a ride on the Santa train. It's been traveling the Hocking Hills for decades. And a neighborhood that's taken holiday lights to a crazy level.
During the holiday season, we rush from store to store to find that great holiday gift, when in reality, the best gift is ourselves and our heart. This holiday season, give the gift of consideration, love, and kindness. I'm Mike Jackson, and on behalf of all my grandsons, Caden Jackson, Brian Wesley, Christopher Michael, and Carson Lee, wish you a very Merry Christmas.
I say Merry Christmas.
Inside the American House Tavern here at the Ohio Village, this is where you'd come for a nice warm mug of wassail. Thank you very much. Have you been to the Picktown Lights? They're still open. There's still time to see them. They're open actually till New Year's Eve. Here's what Colleen Marshall found.
Way back in 2004, neighbors Rob LeRae and Rick Griffith had a friendly little competition.
One year, I thought I had him beat. I had about every square inch of the house covered, and I come out and he's got stuff dancing to music. So lowered my head in shame and walked in the house.
The neighbor I was competing with, he was like, I have to do this next year now also. So I knew I had one more in, and then my next door neighbor and his next door neighbor like, you're not leaving us out.
And just like the Grinch's heart, it grew and grew. This year, 23 houses are linked together. And when you drive through, the neighbors will collect food for the Mid-Ohio Food Bank. Last year, 14,000 pounds of food.
For everybody that's involved, that's probably what's the coolest thing for us, is the knowing that we're able to make a difference and help people out by, stringing up some lights.
In 1985, there was a book published called A Polar Express. It united Christmas and trains forever after. But years before that book was ever published, there was a link between Christmas and trains in nearby Nelsonville, and that's a link that has been strong ever since. Right on time, every Christmas, nearly 500 tons of steel lugs through the Hocking Hills.
Very good.
This is the Santa train.
You being a good boy?
Every weekend between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the Hocking Valley Scenic Railway train lumbers along the 20-mile trip between Nelsonville and Logan and back.
Because I had never been on it before, and I really was talking about going on the Polar Express.
It is like the Polar Express, only better. Everyone gets a treat with this Santa.
All right, now I want you girls to be good, okay?
The Appalachian hills, forests, and farmlands create a winter wonderland of memories for the 6 cars full of kids, mom and dads, and grandma and grandpa.
Family together on a train. Santa was here, of course, which is a big deal. And of course, the scenery down here in Hocking Hills. You can't beat it this time of year.
With a light snow, a nip in the air, and the swaying back and forth of a 12-mile-per-hour train, there's no better way to get in a Christmas mood.
The weather can't be beat for this if you're doing it a Christmas thing, can it?
No, not at all. This is a great day.
The excitement of this most wonderful time of the year
My little grandson's been talking about going on the train for weeks now.
takes a few hours break to breathe it all in.
So we thought it'd be nice this year for them to come down and actually get on a Santa train and get to see what it was like to be on the Polar Express.
And every weekend, young faces light up as this train rolls through another time.
There is a lot of history and heritage in this part of the state. Nelsonville was one of the largest rail shipping communities in the country. There was 32 rail yards in Nelsonville at one time.
Now there's one very important train.
I've never been on a train before, and it's pretty cool.
The Santa Train is a group of volunteers, many who have retired from rail work, but still love the mystery of traveling on the tracks.
My biggest reason for joining this railroad was to see other people get the enjoyment from it. I used to have that experience when I was a kid, so I know what it's like.
For these riders, the experience was part of the magic of the holiday. After 2 hours of carols, candy, and Christmas, the Santa Train pulls back in the station and Santa gets off to await the next train, leaving behind an experience the riders won't forget.
I wanted to see Santa Claus. I was asking for Merry Christmas.
And that's what we wish you, a Merry Christmas on this Christmas Eve. You know, around the time period that we have seen represented here tonight, a poem was being written by a man named Clement Clark Moore. It was called A Visit from St. Nicholas, but we know it as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house
Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
The stockings were hung by the chimney with care,
in hopes that St. Nicholas soon will be there.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds,
while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads.
And Mom in her kerchief and I in my cap
had just settled down for a long winter's nap.
When out on the lawn, there arose such a clatter.
I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter.
Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash.
The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. Then what to my wondering eyes should appear
but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick.
More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came.
And he whistled and he shouted and he called them by name.
Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen.
On Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen.
To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall.
Now dash away, dash away, dash away all.
As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly.
As they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky.
So up to the housetop the coursers they flew.
With a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too.
And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof
the prancing and pawing of each little hoof.
As I drew in my head and was turning around,
down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound.
He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot.
And his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot.
A bundle of toys he had flung on his back.
And he looked like a peddler just opening his pack.
His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples so merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry.
And his droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow.
And the beard of his chin was as white as the snow.
The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth.
And the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath.
He had a broad face and a little round belly
that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly.
He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf.
And I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself.
A wink of his eye and a twist of his head
soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread.
He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work.
And he filled all the stockings and he turned with a jerk.
And laying his finger aside of his nose.
And giving a nod, up the chimney he rose.
He sprang to his sleigh.
To his team he gave a whistle.
And away they all flew like the down of a thistle.
But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight,
Merry Christmas to all,
and to all a good night.